What's happening, bunnies? Today we are finally Rook 6 and we made it there on our way to the Queen grind on Auto Chess Mobile. We're doing an interesting strat that we picked up from Chaos Squirrel on his channel. It's a demon, comp with Demon Witcher, maybe a bit of Knight in there as well. It's quite an exciting strat, something a little bit experimental and different. So I do hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, don't forget to drop a like and a subscribe, and we'll check you in the gameplay. Enjoy. Alrighty guys, so the gameplay that you're going to see today is something, it's an idea that I got whilst I was watching one of Chaos Squirrel's videos. He builds a really cool demon build, which is an off-meta build. It's a bit of an experimental build, and I thought I'd give it a shot and try something similar. So I think we look at a demon knight type setup here. To see how we go. It's not a setup that I'm used to building. It's not a comp that I would usually go with, but I always like experimenting with new things and seeing whether or not it works out. What is nice with this is that if you get it right and you have your Witcher build built correctly, the power of the demons on the front line is extremely strong. So demons obviously have an important synergy that you want to utilize. But if you have more than one demon, they cancel each other out and your synergy is no longer active. So by having Taboo Witcher and Fallen Witcher, you get the Witcher synergy, which treats all demons as one demon. And by doing so, you can then build a full demon comp, which is kind of what we were going for here. As you can see, we started off with the Taboo Witches. I think that's what triggered this idea, was if we get something good in the opening stores that pushes us into this direction, then we're definitely going to go for it. So when the opportunity came up, I thought I'd take it.
Ready for takeoff.
So you can see I'm already looking at just an early strat build, which is just a little bit of tankiness. It's not so much about building the exact comp that you're trying to build from the get-go. You need to survive the first few rounds, make sure that you're building your economy, but in the interim you just keep your branches open so that if you do decide to move into a different synergy, those options are available to you. So at this stage we've got a Skybreaker and a Stone Spirit going. Again, they'll provide some of the frontline tankiness that we need. Knights early around aren't always that strong, and you tend to have to go on a losing streak to be able to build the comp that you want, unless you get early 2-stars. So in this instance we just went rather with the Skybreaker at 2-star, the Stone Spirit and the Swordman, which is also early game and late game. Swordman's is quite an OP unit at the moment, especially with his ult. So this is someone who's obviously going Glacier. You can see the Desperate Doctor and the Frost Knight already there. So.
My cloak's good luck.
Yeah, when I'm doing, I think I might be wrong, but I think this is a casual match. When I'm doing experimental type comps, so as to not affect the ranking too much, I generally do it in casual games. The idea is to show you guys the comp, give you guys ideas and suggestions and things that you can then build on to improve that comp. Obviously it is experimental, so it'll be far from perfect at this stage. But as you can see, it's just to give you guys ideas, and maybe you can grow and give me suggestions on how we can improve this comp going into the future. With the latest version, there's a new Demon Warrior that's been released, which synergizes, or it creates basically an extra, I think, 100 damage for all demons. So there's definitely going to be a lot more demon comps coming in the current meta, which is great. I don't think we see enough of them, and maybe this is a way to start thinking about those sorts of compositions. Cool, so we take our first loss there. Again, it's okay. Not too stressed about it at this stage. We are getting quite a few nice level 2s. We've got the Taboo Witcher, the Frost Knight there, and our Evil Knight on the front line is always nice and tanky. So the problem with this build though is you are dependent on getting Taboo Witcher and Fallen Witcher. So as you can see, we don't have any Fallen Witches at the moment, which means we can only have one demon on and maintain that synergy. Ideally, we would have gotten an early game Fallen Witcher and we could have branched quickly into the demon strat, but until then you need to build with what you've got and hopefully not lose too many games. So this guy's also, I mean, he's got the Thunder Spirit in there mixed in with his Glacier build, but I think early game it's more just around surviving and determining whether or not you're going to go onto a lose or win streak and creating options for branching. So making sure if you look, you can see I still have warrior options open if I decide to go that route, potentially even something on the spirit line, and I could even go Glacier Knight if the demon option doesn't work out, which is why I'm keeping the defectors. I tend to be less cautious when it comes to economy in the early game, which is again pros and cons. It depends whether or not you're on a winning streak. But before you get to rock golems, I tend to be reasonably open to spending so as to improve the array of players that I have on the bench. And you can see at the moment I have between Glacier, Warrior and Skybreaker there, I do have various synergies that I can branch into should I need to. Not likely I'm going to branch into a Goblin Mix synergy unless I get some insane store, but that's not likely, so probably we'll just continue pushing in the direction that we expect it to go. Okay, so now that I've got the first demon synergy on the board, I think that's why I got rid of the swordman. You have to reach a point where you make a decision in terms of what direction you're going. And once I decided I was going knights, I didn't need the swordsman anymore, so I threw them back into a pool. If I had him at a level 2, I probably would have kept him a lot longer. You can see I've still got my Skybreaker in there because you already reached level 2. But at this stage, I'm quite comfortable with the comp that I've got. I've got a Glacier and a Demon synergy, as well as a Knight synergy, so I'm quite happy with that.
Good luck! It only ever caught fire twice.
And although I lost that one match, the rest of them so far have been good. I do get a Doom. I'm hoping I pick this up just to continue with the Demon synergy, but again, you can't use more than one demon until you've got the second Witcher. So what I do at this stage is continue with the Glacier build, the Glacier Knight build, and if worse comes to worse and we don't pick up an early Fallen Witcher early, then we can still move into a Glacier Knight comp. But you can see we've already got 3 level 2s as well as the Evil Knight, which is pretty, the Hull Knight, sorry, which is pretty strong early game. It's quite tanky.
The enemy is just a candle in the wind.
So no need to try and enforce something that's not coming through to the store. We do have 3 items as well. Just want to wait a bit because the idea with the Fallen Witcher is we want to get him to 3-star. So by getting him to 3-star, you want to also have items on there and make sure that he's uber powerful, so that in the late game he's really just carrying through everybody. And that's kind of what we'd want to go for. So I haven't used any of the items on the pieces that I have on the board. I'll keep those till later.
My cloak's good
Again,
luck.
I mentioned this in a previous video, but at this stage of my my learning curve, I still don't scout enough. So I realized it by rewatching a lot of the gameplay. I need to be spending a lot more time looking at the other strategies, seeing what the other compositions are within the lobby, so that I can better adapt towards that and understand what's in the pool, what's not in the pool, and work accordingly. But I don't do that very well at this stage, and that's definitely something I'd like to improve in my gameplay. And I think you'll see going forward in future videos, I'm definitely adapting towards that and ensuring that I monitor and understand what's happening with the other players' boards. Okay, so we've got our third glacier in. We took out Lightning Blade so that we could put Desperate Doctor in. Once he ultimates, that damage affects multiple players, and I think that's quite useful in the current stage of the game. And now we get our Fallen Witcher, which is great because he's a key piece to the strat, which means that potentially we get rid of the Skybreakers. Yeah, so we get rid of the Skybreakers to create space. We know that our level 2 Skybreaker is not going to be making it into the end game. We'll definitely be getting rid of him at some stage, and it might actually make sense then to put him in. So we do. So we replace him with the Desperate Doctor. We now have our 2/2 Witcher, which means we can start putting demons onto the board. We're not overly concerned around the Glacier synergy, and so it makes more sense for us just to get rid of all of that, create some board space. I'd be surprised if we don't get rid of the Defectors, or at least do so soon, and start building some tanky comp in terms of demons.
You can't hold a candle to my power.
Okay, so we hit our win streak. It's a 5 win streak, and we get our second Fallen Witcher, which is great. we 8 out of 16 on level 6, so potentially for 10 econ we could actually level up and get another piece onto the board. I'm not sure if we do that or if we're still making decisions. I think we decide to wait till next round to do it. I think because we're on a winning streak, we're trying to economize quickly. So we didn't spend the money there to level 7. It might actually have made more sense to do so that we can guarantee that we continue, or at least increase the probability of us win streaking further. We do win either way, so that's okay. We do have quite a strong early game setup here with the pieces that we have, but that won't be sustainable unless we start leveling up some of those pieces and adding some new pieces in. So it would make sense to level up. Also, when you're looking at these sorts of synergies, you can't just focus on Demon. You need to understand what the other pieces bring to the table. We've got a Soul Reaper on the bench, and now we have an Evil Knight on the bench, which means that we could do Knight synergy as well as Egasis, and that's a powerful synergy to have. So we do eventually level up to level 7. We put the Soul Reaper on the board, and I think we would like to get the Evil Knight on as soon as possible so that we can get the Egasis synergy up and running. But we are still reasonably strong, and now we're facing an interesting comp because it looks like a feathered comp, maybe a feather hunter type comp, and we get our first loss there, and that was against Morrigan, who's currently sitting in 4th place. They've got a level 2 Shining Archer as well as a Dwarf, so it's not likely that we were gonna pull that off.
Rain, help plunge them.
Alright, and here comes our Strange Egg. I'm assuming we use it on Fallen Witcher, and we do. So we've got a level 2 Fallen Witcher, and considering we're only on round 15, that's pretty strong. We could have had him earlier, but he'll definitely help carry the team a bit further. And with the level 2 Hell Knight, that makes the team comp quite strong at the moment. Yeah, so we've currently got 3 demons there between the Doom, the Hell Knight and the Fallen Witcher, and those 3 demons are the idea of this comp. The idea is to put in as many demons as there are. I don't think we used the Phantom Queen, the Assassin Demon, but other than that, we put in quite a lot of the demons, and the idea is to really utilize that synergy and take advantage of it. Because they're really strong. They're all tanky units. And it's kind of like having a really strong warrior build. except that you also get the shields from the knights, which is also cool. Great, and we get another Fallen Witcher, and depending on how you're building the strat, you can decide to leave Fallen Witcher at level 2 or 2-star and ensure that you build up the rest of the team, but I was pushing for 3-star here. I think Fallen Witcher 3-star is a super strong piece, and that's something that you want to definitely try and achieve, is get the 3-star Fallen Witcher. Soul Reaper also brings in Warlock synergy, so later game we might look for something that we could use there. Maybe Ghost Prophet.
My cloak's good luck. It only ever caught fire twice.
Because we got rid of the Desperate Doctor, so it's not likely that that'll be the piece that we use, but maybe we'll see how it goes later game. It depends also what we get in the store, but I'm quite happy with where we are at the moment.
I am the
There are
knight.
other Frost Knight.
I am the knight, the Bat Knight.
We're winning matches now, which is great. So although we lost that one match against Morrigan earlier, we're now starting to rebuild. I think it's also important that losing one match in the middle of a win streak doesn't mean you have to suddenly move into a lose streak strategy. You can still build back into a win streak. The idea is that you don't want to be in between. So as long as you're not winning and losing and winning and losing, and you're going in one direction and maintaining that economy, it doesn't really matter if it's a win or a lose streak. So in this instance, I think we figured we're strong enough to continue into a win streak, and so far it's paid off.
I beat you. Now I can afford a bigger candle.
Alright, and we're getting more Fallen Witches now, which is also good. So
What do we say to
that helps us move towards 3-star and potentially a really strong frontline piece. So this is Max. I'm not sure what Max is running actually. He had a strange mix there with the Thunder Spirit, and I'm not sure exactly what synergy he was going for. But again, if I was scouting better, it might assist me to understand better what was happening, and I didn't do that very well this match. So I've already got 4 Knight synergy. I don't think I'm going 6 Knight, I'm not sure yet, but our Argali Knight for this build is not what I'm looking for. I'm not trying to build up any human comp. I'm really focusing more on demons than I am on knights, but the Knight shields on top of the heavy attack and carry that comes from the demons is sort of the combination that I'm looking for. The focus is not so much about the shields, it's about building the demon comp.
You can't hold a candle to my power.
Alright. So we're still top of the log, which is looking good. Max has moved to level 8 on the bottom of the log, but the rest of us are pretty much all on 7. Max and Morrigan don't have econ though, so they're in a bit of a troubling position, especially Morrigan with only 6 pieces on the board. That's going to be tricky for him to make a comeback from there. So we finally have a look at what everyone else is running. We've got some Spirit Assassin, which is strange, a bunch of other knights as well, but not anything substantial. Again, our focus isn't so much on knights as it is on demons. So I'm quite happy with what the other guys are going for, and I think it'll be okay for us.
My cloak's good luck. It only ever caught fire twice.
Okay, so our store hasn't been very good for us in the last few rolls. I think we've been a bit unlucky on the RNG, so the idea now is rather to spend a bit of extra cash. Our econ was good. Let's level up and let's get the Aegis synergy on there with the Soul Reaper and the and the Evil Knight. The Soul Reaper, even at level 1, is a nice strong piece to have. It's great for health regen as well as for damage, so quite comfortable with that decision. And we'd like to level up now, so when I say that, I mean improve the quality of the pieces, move those 1 stars to 2 stars. Alright,
My
cool.
clothes
I'll be right back.
It only ever caught fire twice.
Ready for takeoff. Oh, maybe.
Your fear sustains me.
In the name of the moon, I will punish you!
Sorry, or out of mercy.
Alrighty, so we're back. Cool, so we've got a win streak I see going now. We're up against the Russian 007. And he's got that strange feathered glacier sort of hunter build. But we moved through that quite quickly, so I'm comfortable with where we are. It seems like the build is at a strong point, and I think if we level up those knights to 2-star, we should be in a good position for the late game. I see we've also picked up a Shadow Devil, which is really strong.
The chakra.
Also a demon piece, and we should have picked him up a lot earlier, but I think again we've been a bit unlucky in our store. I think the RNG hasn't been on our side there, so we should have picked him up earlier, potentially even had him at level 2. But that's okay. We can't swapping out for the Lightning Blade because we need the 4 Knight synergy. So we're going to keep that in there. But because we've been running our econ nicely, hopefully we'll be able to level up to 9 shortly and get one of those pieces on. I see we've also got the Doom there, so okay, so this match is definitely closer than we'd like it to be. It's an assassin composition and we do pull through, but that's just because we've got the 2 really tanky players there between Fallen Witcher and Hell Knight. So that's definitely something to watch out for. We do get our next level of Fallen Witcher, which is great. So 3 more and we managed to get to a level 3 Fallen Witcher, which is super strong. And we get our second Shadow Devil as well. So soon we'll have a level 2 of him. And I think it's time that we start getting rid of the Skybreaker. So yeah, great that we did that. Because there'll be far more value in having 2 level 2 Fallen Witches on the board than a level 2 Skybreaker. We should probably have done that sooner actually. So this is Karatek. He's in 2nd place at the moment, so he must have a reasonably strong build, but we walk through it quite easily. So
Enemy's just
quite
a
comfortable.
candle in the wind.
In the name of
Yeah,
the
I'm
moon,
assuming you're taking
I
the
will
Lightning Blade there.
punish
You
you!
need to get it to level 2. A level 1 Lightning Blade at this stage of the game is really not very useful.
Ready for takeoff.
Potentially we want a level 3
maybe after
this
I
Frost
lose
Knight.
some
We only need 1 more of them. And a level 2 Soul Reaper as well would be really useful.
Ready for takeoff.
And there we get it. So that's our level 3. It's our first level 3 piece. The Frost Knight isn't the strongest one, but any level 3 piece is going to help us out just in terms of delivering damage. And that's really what this comp is about. I think if you're going to be building demons, you're really pushing for damage, and that's why I paired it with the Knights, because I think the Knights, if you add the shield to the damage, you basically got a really strong warrior type comp, and that's kind of what we're going for.
It only ever caught fire twice.
So Alex in 2nd place is going Beast Spirit Assassin, and we've got 2 other assassin teams, also a Spirit Assassin and then a Goblin Dwarf Mech Assassin, and that can also be quite tricky to work against late game. if they manage to get the full Goblin Gamble built. But at this stage, I'm not too concerned because the economy there is low and the HP is low. As it stands, it looks like the top 4 players are really the only ones pushing economy, which is going to be key for late game, and the HP is quite low for the rest of them, so not too worried about that. So this is Morrigan, who we faced earlier. You can see he's got the level 3 Shining Dragon on there, as well as the level 3 Shining Archer. So his backline build is going to be super strong. If we don't manage to get through the front line, he's going to be able to knock us quite quickly. Luckily we do though, and we do so convincingly, which means that we're okay there. Unless he builds a stronger front line, we should be able to not stress too much about Morrigan. So we definitely need to take that. The Evil Knight is key. We're not going Phantom Queen because we do have a limited amount of space on the board, and so that's not one of our key pieces. I think a lot of people will argue around Doom Arbiter because that's potentially one of the pieces that you would want to take. So we create space for him. We did have to get rid of the Lightning Blade, but I think there'll come a time where we need to make a decision around because we're not getting the level 2 Lightning Blade, we need to make a decision around what do we either replace him with for a different knight, or do we sacrifice the knight synergy and build a much stronger demon synergy, potentially with the Phantom Queen or the Doom Arbiter. So we've hit the 10 streak now, which is great, and we've managed to maintain our economy. Next round as well, we hit level 9, which is good for us because our bench is quite full at the moment. Our bench management hasn't been great. And now that I see we've got that Dragon Knight, I think we might swap that out for the Lightning Blade, simply because the Lightning Blade at level 1 is not going to be doing much for the team, and it makes more sense if we are going to have a level 1 piece on there for it to be a Dragon Knight rather than a Lightning Blade at around 28. So this is Karatek. He's in 3rd place, but he's on a losing streak at the moment, and it was quite a bad losing streak. So he's trying to build econ, you can see, but his build or his comp isn't that strong. So I think he's going to be in trouble. And luckily for us, we pick up our level 2 Shadow Devil, and that's going to be really strong. We might need to, so because we just hit level 9, it created space for the extra piece, so we can just squash him in front of Frost Knight, which is awesome. He's a great AoE damage player, so if you centralize him and just put him in the middle of the pack so he doesn't take too much damage, he's really strong and he's good to have. You could even put him frontline just to increase the mana regeneration from attack or from damage. But I don't think it's necessary at this stage. Our front line is pretty strong. And we walk through Karatek again. There's definitely concern around the matchmaking, the in-game matchmaking algorithm in this game needs work, and I think they're going to fix it in one of the patches coming. You shouldn't be facing players directly after you face them, especially if there are still a number of other players that are in the lobby. It would make more sense for us to face them in a standardized order so that we avoid repetitive play.
I'll exercise every last day.
So you'll notice every round I'm spending around between 5 and 10 economy just on leveling up. The nice thing with demons is that there are so many of them. If you add that with the knight synergy, there's actually potential to have a lot of pieces on the board, so you can play 10 pieces in this quite comfortably. We've already got 9 on the board, and we don't even have the Doom Arbiter on, so you can see I'm spending money on that. The Ghost Prophet's also something to think about. Because we have the Soul Reaper, it unlocks two
Some souls are
synergies.
skinny,
Although we already
some are
have
plus
the
size.
Aegis
I don't judge.
and the Warlock, it could potentially replace Soul Reaper. Because the kind of damage that it causes is nice and spread. It's definitely an AoE piece. And it's something that I would definitely think of late game as super strong. And I think because I'm putting the Magicka Crystal on, you can see that it's definitely something that I am considering. Otherwise I would have put that on the Soul Reaper. Okay, so this is our second place guy. This is Alex, and we walked in quite easily. But now, against our Russian friend, he won, and he's got a mage comp. He's got that strange mage hunter type comp. So probably feather. I'm assuming maybe spirit feather. And and he beat us on his board. So he's definitely one to watch out for. He's currently also on level 9 at 47 HP, but his econ is high compared to ours. So we now decide to look at repositioning. The minute you're on a huge streak and you start losing, positioning is one of the things you can do if you don't have additional items to put on or you don't have player changes to make. Positioning is always key. And as you saw in the rest of this match, we didn't do a lot of position changes. Because we're running a night synergy, generally they will remain clustered together.
Can't hold a candle to my power.
And strangely enough, on our board, we beat Alex quite convincingly.
You sure are good at losing,
That's quite
huh?
strange. Alright, so we've reached level 10, which means we can put our final piece on. I'm assuming we put the Ghost Prophet, which we do. If we had a level 2 Doom, I might consider putting that on the front line instead. But the AoE damage from Ghost Prophet is going to be really beneficial to this comp. So this is the Russian guy that beat us on his screen. You can see now the comp that he's running. It's a very interesting comp because he's got a Storm Shaman, a Desperate Doctor, so he's got some sort of Glacier build in there. He's definitely got mages, but he's also got the Wind Range in the back, so potentially something on the Feathered line. It's really, really strong. And we lose to him quite heavily actually.
Only a demon can defeat.
Alright, so there comes our level 3. So this is a key moment for us in the game. Level 3 Fallen Witch is an expensive unit. It's a high cost unit, but it is very, very tanky. And this should help us pull through some of the rounds going forward. We also won away from our level 3 Taboo Witcher. And that paired with the 3-star Frost Knight is a great combo for us to have. There was definitely a misplay there. As you saw, the timer ran out and we didn't get our 10th player on the board, so we have an open space. Luckily we win the match anyway. It's against Alex, but our concern is more against the 007 at the bottom. As you can see, he's still tanking through our team substantially, so unless we make some sort of change, and you can see we did a further positioning change, but that additional level 2
Some
Taboo
souls
Witch is
are
not going to
skinny,
make
some are
much
plus
difference.
size. I don't judge.
So we try change position, and the idea is we really need to push the level 3 Taboo. So to allow us a few further spins, we realize that we're not going to use the Doom Arbiter anymore, so we sell those two, pick up the Evil Knights, and ideally we'd like to push towards a 3-star Evil Knight, or a 2-star Ghost Prophet would be great as well.
My cloak's good luck. It only ever caught fire twice.
Creep round was pretty straightforward. We'll definitely pick up the Dragon Knight. Remember, we swapped the Lightning Blade out, so we still only have a 1-star Dragon Knight. And Dragon Knight at 2 stars is really strong. But more importantly, we get our 3rd Ghost Prophet, which means we can level 2 her up, and that'll make her a lot stronger. She's already got a Magicka Crystal on, so she should be able to ultimate quite quickly. And hopefully that tips the scale in our favor. But we'll only tell now in this round coming. we've high rolled quite substantially there, down to 29. We were above 50, around the 60 mark even, so it's a big play there. And as you can see, that level 3 God of War is a big issue for us, because we are not managing to get past that, and that's giving the mage units a lot of time to nuke, and we don't have any counters for that at this stage. Something that might help now would be a teleport dagger. We had a teleport dagger potentially on a taboo witcher. We do have the...
I can see another pack.
We should have we almost have a level 3 taboo witcher. If we do manage to get that, and there it comes, great. So now we've got the level 3 taboo witcher. That with a teleport dagger would be able to jump straight into the back line of the mage comp, and prevent them from getting any of the ults off, which would help us to have sufficient time to get through the God of War on the front line. So top 2, as you can see, we haven't won against this guy yet. It's been a really tough battle. He's on 28 HP. He's got his God of Thunder in there, and that's causing us a lot of havoc. He's also got a Devastator, which isn't helping the cause, but we finally managed to break through, and this 3-star Fallen Witcher, you can see how effective he is. He does go down eventually, but on his board we actually won. So that's a good step. It means that we have made a step in the right direction. The 3-star Taboo Witcher and the 2-star Ghost Prophet have made a big difference to the game. It means that we can still win this.
Be only one true master of thunder.
We've got our second 2-star Evil Knight plus 1-star, so 2 more and then we get the 3-star. If we get that, I think that swings us favorably. You'll see I skip past the Dragon Knights, but that's because we've used our Econ now, so we had to sacrifice the Econ to get further down this, or level up our players so that we could stand a chance against this guy. But his mage comp is super strong. You can see that every round we're left with our 3-star Fallen Witcher, and it's basically down to him every round to knock out around 6 different players, or pieces. This round we take.
You can't hold a candle.
And I think it is also a bit of RNG, depending on who gets silenced, who doesn't get silenced, whether or not they manage to get the nukes off in time, and whether or not we manage to get through the God of War in time. That's all affecting our ability to win these rounds.
I am the God of thunder. I am the God of thunder.
So we managed to,
God.
for our 10th piece, we've got the Divinity in there, and it's 2-star. So 2-star God of Thunder is an absolute win for us. I think it's necessary because we don't have a 10th piece option. Potentially we could have looked at putting in Doom Arbiter, but I think the ultimate of God of Thunder at a 2-star level is going to be more beneficial to us against the mage comp.
Here I come.
So this is the reposition, and this is also something I learned from Chaos Squirrel. It's a diagonal positioning strategy instead of the standard box strategy. Again, if you don't have items and you don't have pieces and you don't have economy, the only thing that you can really work with to influence a game is to reposition. The idea is very similar. You'll still put your tanks on the front line, but it just provides a different angle, and again, from an RNG perspective, that can be a game changer. So now against the Glacier clan, which is a clan I always struggle against. I think this time we might actually pull through. I don't want to call it too soon. It's going to be close though. So Shadow Devil gets his ult off, and that helps us clutch.
It only ever caught fire twice.
That being said, 007 managed to get through them quite easily, so we're definitely in a tight spot.
What do we say to the God of Death?
So the Glacier clan gave us some great items there. We also managed to get the teleport dagger, and I'd be surprised if we didn't put on Taboo, which we do. So you can watch Taboo now. You'll see how she jumps straight into the back line. And that back line of mages, she eliminates the source, she eliminates the God of Thunder, she also eliminates the Thunder Spirit. And immediately you can see how the game has changed. We have 5 players still alive, they only have 2. And in the previous state, prior to that change, prior to that teleport dagger, we were left in a position where it was generally just Fallen Witcher against 4 or 5 of their pieces. So it has absolutely swung the game. It's still not over yet, but we're in a far better position now that we have that. Now that we have that item. HP still in our favor as well, but both of us are running with 0 economy. So in terms of game changes, considering that it's already around 42, it's not likely that we're going to get too many more items, so positioning is going to be key for the remainder of the game. He's still playing the God of War on the front line, and that's always tricky for us. If the Taboo Witcher doesn't teleport to the back line, we lose the round, basically. She needs to get back. Then you can see she's already died, so that puts us in a heavy disfavor, especially because he is running Devastator at the same time at level 2. So we are actually completely dependent on our Taboo Witcher to win or lose the game for us. It's all about whether it manages to get off the back line and destroy the mage. The mage is there. Every round you can see our HP has become closer to theirs, so there's a potential for a switch over in terms of placement in the lobby. It'll all be coming down to this round right now. So our Taboo Witcher does manage to get into the back end. But I've noticed the other thing that's really killing us is his Storm Shaman. His Storm Shaman, because we are clustered in the corner, his Storm Shaman is silencing all of our key units. So our God of Thunder, our Ghost Prophet, all at level 2, they are all being silenced, which means none of them are getting their else off in time. And that's definitely to our detriment. That being said, we did win the round, so it's a little bit RNG at the moment. We're winning some rounds, he's winning some rounds. And you can see our HPs didn't change, which means that on our board we won and on his board he won. And that makes the situation a bit tricky because, again, we need to decide what changes we make. So I've moved Fallen Witcher to the top line, and the idea of that is to try and get him around the back of God of War. And you can see it works successfully. The players in the middle of your triangle, the middle front of the triangle, will generally move towards center board, which gives him the opportunity to move around the back left, similar to how Taboo Witcher is doing. And immediately you can see how convincingly we win that round. Again, from an RNG perspective now, on his board he wins, because our Fallen Witcher is stuck in the center and hasn't moved around the back left. We finally get our level 3 Evil Knight,
Can't kill what's already dead.
and so we're currently running 4 3-star pieces, and 3 of those are really key to us. His Div Mage Warlock is an extremely strong comp, so it's a great build, and it's definitely something I'd like to cover in one of the future videos. So this is the Neon Beast. Very seldom go to round 45 in a match. It just shows you how close these two comps are. But we'll definitely win this round. And hopefully we get a great item.
Just a candle in the
And we do. Mysterial Staff is a good item to have. We can combine it onto Ghost Prophet, and that also gives us a great advantage because one of the active abilities is that it turns one of the enemies into a penguin for 5 seconds, similar to your Shaman synergy. So without having that synergy, you can still implement that action, which is great for us, especially if we manage to hit someone like a God of Thunder, potentially even the God of War or the Storm Shaman. Okay, so in this instance we don't. We hit someone on the back line, which is unfortunate for us. Also, Fallen Witcher doesn't go around the back left like he's supposed to. Taboo Witcher does get in, but it looks like it's too late. The Devastator gets his ult off, and that means we now again left just with Fallen Witcher to take on the rest of the team. He has managed to level 3 his Thunder Spirit though, so that's going to put us in a very difficult position. And with the Storm Shaman, that damage has just been too much for our guy to handle. So we'll take a loss there. It's a bit of a heavy one. And again, it's a very, very close match. Right, so because we're in this sort of stalemate position, again, the only other option now is to try reposition. We are going to spread the pieces out over the board a lot more so that we don't have a cornered position. And the idea of this again is that when Storm Shaman gets his ult off, it doesn't affect all of the pieces at the same time. We're also much closer to the action, which is unfortunate for us because with a mage comp, that's exactly what they want. They want you to cluster your pieces so that when they nuke, it affects far more of them. And in this instance, that reposition didn't work out for us. In fact, it told us quite heavily we're now only down to 1 HP. And on his board, it looks like we might still win on his board. But again, it's only going to give us 3 damage because it's only 1 player. And it's our tank, it's our carry that's pulled us through. Economy doesn't even really matter at this stage. The likelihood of us getting 3 pieces would only give us another 2-star. We'd actually need to get another 6 pieces just to level something up. So the economy is not that important. We're already on level 10. All we can do now is try a different position and understand why we're putting the pieces where we're putting them. I keep Taboo Witcher, you'll see in the corner so that she can jump around back end, and she doesn't do that, which is not ideal. The Storm Shaman then hits everybody, the God of Thunder comes in, and although it's quite a closely contested battle here, I think the second Devastator ult is too much for us to handle. But we managed to just clutch the round on. Again, it's all about that level 3 Fallen Witcher, and we win on both. On both boards. So down to 13 HP and 1 HP. Very, very close match. He doesn't make any positioning changes. Oh, he's making them now. Okay, so he obviously sees where we've positioned our players on the right hand side of the board. So we need to counter position now. So you can see we've got 7 seconds left. We're repositioning ours to counter the positioning change that he's made. But he still has his Devastator behind the God of War, which means there's space to plant the bomb. And that's a disadvantage for us. That one block that we left open there, that's enough to cause the devastation that's needed to our team. And we now again left with the level 3 Fallen Witcher. The problem is we haven't taken down the God of War, so he needs to get through the God of War, and he's unable to do so. So we lose that match, we come second. I think the purpose of this video was to demonstrate a lesser seen composition, and hopefully you guys managed to pick up some nice stuff from that. It was a second place, but it was a great match, and we could have won, I think, against various other comps. So I would definitely say it's a usable comp. It's a good strategy to use, and I think with some refinement it can be one of the meta comps going forward, especially with the new piece. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll check you in the next video. Enjoy.